Music long ago, the only demons ravaged and tormented the lives of humans. In a time desperate for heroes, one man rode a dragon, charging into battle to vanquish all the demons. With just a few powerful strikes and his fierce beast companion, he wiped them out completely, leaving only ruins in the wake of his own fierce war. Perhaps it was this terrifying power that the king declared him a traitor. Disgusted and betrayed, he chose to start anew, reborn into another world. Here he was reincarnated as a 5-year-old boy named Psyche, born into a noble family but the son of a second wife. Worse yet, he was powerless, scorned by his own siblings. In this world, magic defines worth, yet Psyche showed no reaction to any elemental magic at all. But none of that mattered to him. Though his new body lacked magic, Psyche brimmed with determination to understand this strange new world. He cast a spell to summon spirit beasts that would watch over his surroundings for him. Even at home, Psyche could command them to protect him, especially when his older brother Grey bullied him. Grey seemed calm and kind on the surface, but being a second son and powerless, Psyche grew up isolated, with almost no one to talk to except 2 people. One was the maid Eva, always searching for some lost trinket Psyche's brothers hid from him. The other was Grey himself, who teased and mocked Psyche daily, boasting about being accepted into the prestigious Zona Magic Academy. Grey mocked Psyche's lack of magic and said he didn't need to study. But today, Psyche decided to prove himself. He would go to school with his father and brothers to see their true skills. They looked confident, casting spells loudly and shooting dust-like particles in a challenge to Psyche. Even knowing Psyche had no magic, they wanted to show off. The truth is, the law of the weak always being oppressed is brutally real. So Psyche had no choice but to act. Without chanting a single spell, he unleashed a powerful blue flame. The 3 were stunned, and understandably so. Psyche begged to study magic alongside his brothers, but was refused. Instead, he was assigned a tutor to teach him everything about this world. Naturally, Psyche was diligent, absorbing all he could, except for a few spells he couldn't grasp. From birth onward, he mastered almost everything. Years passed until Psyche turned 11, and could no longer bear the loneliness inside his own home. He summoned one of his spirit beasts to talk to it. The beasts he had sealed and sent back to the spirit realm were unreachable, but this one was the gentlest. He called forth a cute little girl named Yuki. She was a white fox spirit who, unwilling to return to the spirit realm, had shrunk herself to hide within Psyche. Now, Grey was reaching puberty and growing curious about the opposite sex, trying to coax Eva into his room. Luckily, Psyche arrived just in time to save Eva. Now, confident in his position, he feared no one, not even his father or brother. Eva then asked Psyche for a favor to save an injured Pokemon. What, that's not something I can do? Psyche thought. But then he saw a charm, something like those Thai shamans use, piercing with a needle to cure hemorrhoids instantly. Psyche remarked that Eva was like him, no magic within, but possessing unique abilities all the same. What's truly remarkable is that he discovered Eva can see what ordinary eyes cannot, spirits and elementals. These ethereal beings often come to Eva's aid whenever she faces hardship. Honestly, having them as companions isn't too shabby. Even better, Eva can actually summon these elementals for help, an ability so rare that not everyone who sees spirits can wield it. In his past life, Psyche tried countless times but failed. He's always searched for a child with this gift to be his partner, but only in this new world did he finally find her. He conjured a flame and challenged Eva to extinguish it. No magic allowed, just the wind. Elementals help. Every time Eva commanded, the elementals obeyed almost instantly. Though still inexperienced, Psyche began training her in magic. Though secretly, he was just her shepherd, preparing her for the feast later. For an entire year, Eva practiced only one skill, becoming a firefighter. Of course, no effort is ever wasted. On a day neither rainy nor sunny, his 2 older brothers stirred trouble again. Ray insisted on training Psyche in swordsmanship, claiming that those without magic can't be sorcerers and must become soldiers instead. This was meant as a warm-up, a prelude to ease him into military life. Before Psyche could agree, an urgent report came. A colossal monster had breached the city gates, heading straight for their mansion. No one knew the source of the intel, but the monster was close, a blazing salamander. Ray panicked and fled, but Psyche ran headfirst to confront the beast. The fiery salamander was about to attack two maids when Eva protected herself without hesitation. A year of training wasn't wasted after all. Psyche lured the creature to the back garden to minimize damage, leapt onto it and defeated it with a single strike. No theatrics, just a simple yet skillful move that exploited the salamander's elemental weakness. Everyone's eyes in that moment were transformed, filled with admiration for Psyche. That dinner tasted sweeter than ever, all thanks to his feat. Not everyone could do what he did. Even his father had struggled to stop the beast. Psyche explained he'd uncovered the monster's weakness from books, earning him admission to Zenoa Academy as a reward. He also wanted Eva to attend the academy, alongside him, disguised as his personal servant. Naturally, his father only consented to Psyche's admission. One incompetent child was already more than enough. To prove to his father that Eva was capable of magic, Psyche coached her to fake a spell, then called on the elementals to shoot a flame power on par with intermediate magic. His parents breathed easier and approved all of Psyche's decisions except his brother Ray, who opposed fiercely. Ray's jealousy never faded, and the thought of studying alongside a useless brother was unbearable. Tradition dictated only one son could attend school, so their father swapped their roles. Ray would join the military. This old man had eyes everywhere. Over the years, Psyche worked hard on magic, while Ray wasted away in revelry with his sword friends. Sending Ray to the army seemed fitting, no complaints there. Not wanting his wild days to end so soon, Ray challenged Psyche loser leaves the house forever. Well, one last favour for the older brother. Their father agreed to be referee for fairness. That night, Lut, the youngest brother, visited Psyche with a belated birthday gift, a glass pen. Seeing Psyche's hunger for knowledge, Lut showed surprising kindness despite past distance. Meanwhile, Ray couldn't wait for tomorrow. He called Psyche down for an immediate fight. Psyche just sighed. "Which kid's dad are you?" Ray ordered them to fight with full power. Whoever lost would quit by next day. He unleashed intermediate magic against Psyche, showing no brotherly mercy. Psyche didn't even get a speck of dust on his clothes. Then Ray pulled out a magical barrier spell unlike anything Psyche had seen. But Psyche countered with a talisman that locked Ray's movements. Lucky enough, Psyche became the first to witness a slice of the world's strongest onmyoji powers. He promised Lut to go easy on Ray so his brother could learn a lesson, though. Whether the stubborn fool accepted was another matter. In this fragile, tiny world, Psyche could unleash and master his power. But reincarnation wasn't about repeating past mistakes. In his past life, it was these weak, fragile people who killed him. So this time, Psyche vowed to live as an ordinary, vulnerable human. The next morning, Psyche and Eva prepared to depart for the academy, but Ray was nowhere to be found, probably crying like a lost child. The journey would take 7 days by carriage. During that time, Psyche continued teaching Eva. To enroll both, had to pass the school's entrance exam. There was a secret. Even the strongest onmyoji didn't know Psyche wasn't the Count's biological son. His father was the mischievous younger brother who sacrificed himself during a stroll with demons. The Count worried this child might be tainted by dark forces, as few in the kingdom had jet black hair and eyes. From childhood, Psyche was strange and shunned by the Count's true children, who envied him. The Count noticed Psyche's magic wasn't ordinary. Even his defeat of the salamander seemed more poison than fire. He sensed a dangerous power within Psyche, so he barred him from the military. In that environment, Psyche could have become a demon-slaying hero or a demon lord who destroys the world. Too risky, so the Count sent him to the academy, hoping Psyche would grow into someone useful for the kingdom. That was some foresight, no joke. Finally, arriving at the city, Psyche's weakness surfaced: motion sickness, ironic for a guy who laughed at dragons in his past life. But let's forget that for now. A girl wanted to share a room with Psyche. He had wide knowledge, but zero clue about a girl's heart. He bluntly turned her down. The next morning, they headed to school for the entrance exam. First, they had to measure their magical power, a routine step everywhere. Eva showed reactions to wind and fire elements, though weak, while Psyche predictably showed none. Meanwhile, whispers started. People claimed Psyche bought his way in with money and influence. Nobles often passed exams regardless of merit. Then a mysterious girl with jet black hair appeared, silencing the gossip. She was a commoner, who reacted to all 4 elements with unbelievable strength, a rare gem indeed. But what Psyche noticed wasn't just about appearances or personality. This face, this spirit, mirrored someone he had met in a past life. But the first impression wasn't exactly warm. Eva's written test was shaky, a rough sketch made under time's tight leash, so she had to rely on the practical exam to claw back her standing. The goal: hit 5 targets each linked to a different elemental force. The more points scored, the better. Most contestants only got 1 shot, and their power was faint, far from what Saika expected. Then it was Eva's turn. She launched an attack without uttering a single spell. How? She hadn't even tapped into her magic. But the surprise didn't stop there. Her next strike, a gust of wind, was as fierce as the fiery blast moments before. Saika's eyes widened. Eva had been quietly sharpening her edge to shock him. Seeing his pupil evolve like this stirred something deep inside Saika, the pride of a mentor watching a flower bloom. When it came to Saika's turn, everyone braced for disappointment, convinced he'd fail and buy his way out. Instead, he stunned them all. From his palm burst a blue flame that never died, burning the stone target from within and freezing it solid. Maybe a bit heavy-handed, but enough Saika wasn't about to flaunt his full power. No one dared murmur a word against them after that. This year's contestants were full of surprises, but none more than a mysterious girl named Amsu. She wielded 6 elements with a terrifying mastery, each one as potent as the last. The judges whispered that she might become a legendary warrior. On the scoreboard, Saika ranked 3rd, Eva 2nd, and of course Amsu sat atop the list. From now on, these two would walk the halls of the famed Zona Magic Academy, but Eva felt a pang of sadness about dorm life so far from Saika. As the opening ceremony party approached, Saika and Eva noticed something sinister, a swarm of dark spirits gathering around a magic circle. Though uneasy, they dismissed it after all. It was the Academy's grounds. But Saika couldn't shake off the feeling. Just then, Amsu, representing the students, started her speech, when demons burst from the earth, confirming Saika's fears. Saika slipped into the shadows to watch, puzzled by the demons' slow assault. They should have wiped out the weak students instantly. Amsu charged forward, buying time for everyone to flee. Saika pinpointed the summoner behind this chaos. He told Eva to stay and help, urging her to run if danger overwhelmed her. Meanwhile, he headed toward a recluse, a metal demon named Gan lurking in a garden corner. Gan proudly declared himself the Metal Demon King. Just as he called his kin to attack, 2 headless demons were swiftly cut down and dragged back into the spirit realm by Saika. Intrigued, Gan decided to face Saika himself. Though Gan could see through all of Saika's talismans, the relentless barrage left him only able to defend. Then Gan launched his own assault. The shadow teleportation ability was a real troublemaker. Saika unleashed a life-risking move, but still lost an arm. He was close to death. That's when Gan revealed his plan. He was hunting the legendary warrior who could wield all elemental magic, the very person who was none other than Amsu. At this moment, she hadn't yet unleashed her full power. The stage was set, the battle lines drawn, and the fate of all elemental magic would soon hang in the balance, unleashing his true power. Saika saw this as the moment to eradicate the demons and prevent future calamities. With a final strike aimed to end it all, he thought victory was certain. But dying so easily, not for the strongest being reborn here. As the demon spun its whirlpool attack, Saika leapt up, dodging death with a teleportation move so slick it was maddening to hit. Frustrated, the demon lunged recklessly, and now it was caught. That hit stung, but this stubborn fiend still clung to confidence. He thought Saika's talismans were all spent unaware, that over the years Saika had crafted more seals than curses spat by a salty tongue. Perhaps it was time to end this. Saika summoned the mighty dragon god Mizuki, ready to serve it a feast, fit for a god. Even the current demon lord couldn't summon such a beast. The demon barely had time to register that Saika was an oddity, wielding strange, formidable power before its life was snuffed out. Maybe it never knew that Saika had a new body in this world. The demon had tried to rebel and flee, but luckily Saika captured it and returned to the spirit realm, where they raised nothing but fierce beasts. Back at the main building where the attack happened, thankfully no one was hurt. Even more surprising, Amju single-handedly wiped out all the demons. If she's not a warrior, then who else? Finding key allies this early was luck beyond measure for Saika. In this life, he needed someone to fill his shoes, as the strongest someone who could take the brunt of the world's judgment. After all, the true power belongs to the many, an individual is nothing. Meanwhile, Saika would keep playing the role of an ordinary guy, living a simple, happy life for now. A month passed in a blink. The incident faded into memory, but one thing stubbornly refused to progress, making friends with Amju. Saika had no idea how to even start. Just greeting her felt like climbing a mountain. To prepare for the new students' opening ceremony, Saika needed the two top performers, Amju and Eva, to assist. Not wanting to miss this chance, Saika asked Effa to step back and let him take the spotlight unintentionally, making himself look like a power-hungry boss. Though Aoife knew Saika had his own plans, she thought he was just into a certain type of girl, curvy, well-off, and strongest with the potential to be a warrior. Once a girl sets her mind, arguing is pointless. Saika insisted he only wanted friendship, but the look on Effa's face said she wasn't buying it. On the day of the ceremony, Prep Amju and Eva showed up at the odd place where Saika had once fought metal demons. No idea why they held it in such a god-forsaken spot, but Saika sensed trouble brewing. Before long, a small magic circle appeared and activated, whisking them away to a dark, damp realm. Demons swarmed, launching a fierce attack. Amju struck down enemies with a single blow, while Saika swiftly dispatched an invisible foe lurking behind. Her surprise at Saika's unique moves was clear. No doubt this was a demon lair, not a place to sit tight and wait for rescue. Charging headfirst into a deadly trap felt desperate, yet somehow Imru smiled calmly amid the chaos. Saika wasn't worried. He'd already stationed a guardian spirit above ground to find an escape route. After a while, they felt a powerful force approaching giant blue demons, bigger and tougher this time. Amju couldn't take them all down and was knocked unconscious. Saika arrived just in time, summoning an elder centipede to clear the cave. What better than a colossal centipede to tidy up a demon den? When Amju awoke, the battle was over, but she still suffered headaches from an unknown ailment that surfaced after fighting the metal demons. Was it a curse or a sickness? Sure enough, once Saika raised a protective barrier, her pain vanished. Amju found no curse marks visible, except in places she couldn't see herself. The young man seized the moment to help even when things got tough. This curse strangely allowed countermeasures, mixing physics and chemistry knowledge straight from his sharp mind. Combined with Amju's fire, it triggered a massive explosion. Then came Amju's moment of glory, her first time personally slaying the strongest bot in the cave. She was exhilarated. From now on, she was definitely an apprentice mage in the making. The spoils included a sealed sword and a magical ring. Judging by power, the sword suited Amju, while Eva was better off with the ring. But one more problem loomed one Saika had to solve swiftly, or his peaceful life would shatter. The mysterious black-robed teacher had long raised Saika's suspicions. Today, the truth surfaced: he was a demon spy, planted to eliminate young warriors. The curse was his doing too. Yet Saika had to admit the black-robed teacher was a genius, cursing those tainted by demon blood. Knowing this, only one would survive this deadly game. But the teacher didn't realize he faced a master of talismans and curses, a true Onmyoji-wielding primal magic. In the end, the black-clad man died by his own curse. With that, battle over life seemed to return to normal. At least that's what Saika hoped. But who knew when fate would twist again? And how long had these two, Saika and Amju, really known each other? Meanwhile, Saika felt sidelined. A year passed and his rank climbed to 52. Since defeating the black-robed teacher, peace had reigned. Then, suddenly, the vice principal summoned Saika and Eva to the principal's office for tea. Something felt off. Was the principal secretly the head of some hidden organization? To their surprise, he was a dwarf who called them to select a representative for the upcoming martial arts tournament in the imperial capital, where magic was allowed. Only 2 slots were open. The third went to a new student named Mabeo. But why Saika and Eva, not Imru, their secret trump card? The principal explained that a woman's 6th sense had guided the choice. Strange, but true. Meanwhile, Effa, inexperienced in real combat and hesitant to attack humans, was passed over. The 3 discussed Marbeo's background. Was she a noble trying to make a splash? Imru suspected so. When did you two become so close Saika's really being left out now? A whole year has passed and your rank has climbed to 52. Strange though, ever since you defeated that Dark Master, life has been peaceful, almost too peaceful. Suddenly, the vice principal summons Saika and Eva to the principal's office for tea. What could this mean? My gut tells me trouble's brewing after all the principal rarely makes appearances. Could he be the hidden mastermind behind some secret organization? But to everyone's surprise, the principal turns out to be a dwarf. Yes, a dwarf. He calls the two of them here to choose one to compete in this year's martial arts tournament in the imperial capital. Magic is allowed this time, so there are 2 spots, one for the new student Mabeo and the others for Saika and Eva. But why choose Saika and Eva instead of Amru? Is he hiding his trump card? The principal explains that it's the 6th sense of a woman that guided his decision. Sounds almost unbelievable. Meanwhile, Eva lacks real battle experience and might hesitate to strike a human opponent, yet she's been chosen. Let's put that aside for now. The 3 of them start to gossip about Mabeo, who is this girl. Amru suspects she's from a noble family trying to impress to climb the ranks. No sooner said than Amru gets scolded like a kid. Fire meets water, right? He can't stand being insulted by a junior like that. Izo borrows 2 training swords to challenge Mabeo. I've been waiting for this day a long time, he says. Saika notices both want to duel testing whose sword is longer and doesn't stop them. In fact, he's curious about her true strength. The match begins. Amru charges, but Mabeo deflects easily and turns the tide against him. It seems Mabeo has enchanted her sword with dark magic. Amru's sword bends under the assault, and the fight ends with Mabeo declaring the young warrior weak and naive. Then she turns to Saika with a challenge. Give up now if you don't want to get hurt, kid. The contest began, and Amdu charged forward, but the girl blocked her attack and even turned the tables. It seemed Mabeo had infused her sword with dark magic, enhancing its power. Amdu's blade bent under the assault and the duel ended. Mabeo declared that the brave warrior was still weak and naive, still a bit rough around the edges. She then taunted Saika, give up now if you don't want to get hurt, kid. Is that so? Then I'll have to stab you a few more times to make you behave. The day of the competition arrived. Saika and Mabeo headed to the imperial capital to join the tournament, but oddly Eva and Amdu tagged along too. Forget studying, they were just here for the drama. Well, it's not every day you get to explore the vast imperial capital, right? But honestly, Amdu's real reason was bitterness toward Mabeo, so she followed to keep an eye on her. And here comes the classic motion sickness story from our guy. With a loser like this, what business can be done? Don't make you wait any longer. The tournament is about to start. The sword competition has shifted to mixed martial arts, so half the contestants are mages. The opening match is Saika versus a swordsman rumoured to be the strongest adventurer from some guild. Looking serious and well-armed, huh? Saika wasn't feeling well, so he wanted to end the fight fast. He dodged the opponent's direct thrust and sent him flying off the stage, a swift, clean match, but spectacular. Everyone was amazed since sword fights usually don't end this quickly. Saika didn't want to stand out too much, so he wasn't aiming for the championship here. If every match were this easy, that'd be great. But the next fight was sure to send chills down your spine. That guy Bell is a disciple of the Phantom Assassin, sounds fancy and famous. His opponent was Kai, whose dark demeanour made it unclear if he was a mage or swordsman. The match began with him leaping high, freezing in place. Kai advanced steadily, stabbing straight into his opponent's neck, a murder right on the arena floor. His face showed no emotion. Saika guessed he wasn't here just for the championship, but why the crowd was so hyped was a mystery. This was no longer a simple tournament. But what surprised Saika most was that this world still had Uchiha clansmen, a force not to be underestimated anymore. Saika's second round fight went smoothly against a golem built to counter magic, but he used a summoned beast instead. Luckily, he acted fast. If he'd been detected, it would have been over. Only monsters can summon creatures like those. After Kai's brutal match, Eltha grew worried, fearing he might do the same to Saika. Meanwhile, Amdu remained carefree, unable to imagine how Saika could lose. And of course, that turned out to be true. For Saika, this tournament was like playing with pets. The next match was Mabeo's turn. She's a mage, but heavily armed with swords. Her opponent was also a mage appearing experienced, but perhaps slow in casting due to age. After some investigation, details like name, age, and appearance were recorded and the rewards. End of provided subtitles. Satoshi is the unfortunate spy here. Perhaps the name Mabeo is just a mask, a clever ruse to mislead everyone. This was the headmaster's true plan to hide Amju's brilliance, but why was Saika chosen to accompany her? That answer will unfold in time. Returning to the battles, the cunning fighter still wins in his own unique way, while powerful challengers continue to emerge alongside him. It seems the competition is fierce and crowded, with even Mabeo in the mix. This guy wields many elemental powers and eagerly awaits a showdown with Saika in the finals. Meanwhile, Mabeo wishes Saika would just surrender so she could advance, whether out of concern or fear of losing, it's unclear. One thing's certain, Saika refuses to back down and insists on a real fight. Next match, here we go. The duel begins between the knight and Kai. Learning from past battles, Kai surrounds himself with a magical shield of radiant light. This kind of defense is near impenetrable. Yet Kai shows no fear, calmly closing in on his opponent. He unleashes a barrage of spells, but none breach the shield because Saika has his own dark barrier just like Mabeo. Even the stone monsters are swiftly defeated. Diana charges head-on only to be stopped by shadow magic. What terrifying power is this? Though Saika can analyze it, he never expected someone to wield such techniques. The battle ends before Kai can strike a fatal blow, perhaps out of mercy, unwilling to let a promising youth like Diana die unjustly. Truly, human life matters even in this harsh world. The next day, Saika faces Mabeo. He plans to lose gracefully, but suddenly someone arrives to greet him. Looks like they couldn't wait for tomorrow. Saika's unsure what this girl wants or why she's here. Mabeo tries to distract him, hoping to escape, but since she's come all this way, Saika isn't about to let her slip away easily. No running, no hiding, just standing here watching the moon and feeling the breeze. Surely she knows she can't escape. Saika only wants a peaceful talk, hoping to hear Mabeo's reasons. Maybe he'll change his mind. But she remains silent. So Saika shares his thoughts first, and sure enough, his suspicion was right. Mabeo was a cover to hide Amju's true identity. She must face Kai to help Saika kill her. The demon clan would think their warrior is dead. Yet Saika's reasoning falters slightly. Both Kai and Mabeo are gifted children taken in by the Japanese guild. They live in a group of 4, and when they reach a certain age, one is chosen as a mercenary. The price, they must kill their comrades. But Mabeo insists she will defeat Kai. This is personal. In truth, they are siblings. Kai asked her a favor before being brainwashed to free him when he's no longer himself. Hearing Mabeo's heartbreaking story, Saika vows to win the championship and save these 2 tragic souls. It's a promise of honor, for he is the strongest. The next day, the semi-final between Saika and Mabeo begins. She pulls out her real weapon. This is serious for her. But Saika seems to be toying around, almost joking. "Hey, it's rude to mess around when your opponent's serious," she scolds. Her old tricks easily counter his, so he tries a new move. Looks like the match ends here, leaving the grudge match for the finals. Now we learn Kai can still speak, but he's brainwashed his mind fixed only on killing Mabeo. Saika wants Kai to apologize to Mabeo after losing. The fight starts. Saika creates a fog to blind Kai's sight, but Kai's shadow shield blocks all magic attacks. Annoying as heck, so Saika plays dirty and summons a monster of a different caliber. But fear and hesitation are wiped from Kai's mind. He charges forward like a madman and ends up flat on the ground. Yet Saika never expected this Kai was cursed earlier. Though he set a protective barrier, it wasn't enough. Saika's forced to relay his apology. The strongest guy can do anything except dodge fate. Saika plans to revive Kai, but the spell will draw too much attention. He might have to reincarnate again. Great power, tough price. In the end, Saika wins by banishing his rival, but secretly moves Kai's body elsewhere so Mabeo can bury her brother. She guesses her brother was cursed. Every mercenary is marked to cover their tracks. These kids are victims of a cruel game. Now Mabeo feels lost, unsure what to do. Saika calmly suggests she just attend the academy, like normal. After all, it was the headmaster's plan to enter Saika into the tournament. Yet, even the strongest Onmyoji was outread like an open book, by a 300-year-old dwarf woman who cares deeply for Mabeo. She doesn't want Mabeo to die as a pawn for that mercenary guild. The plan succeeded, and now Saika's next mission is to guide Mabeo through the academy as her senior. Sounds easy, right? But teaching Mabeo is harder than expected. She's never studied before. Anyone with siblings knows the frustration of teaching wild kids. Soon summer break arrives and everyone returns home except Saika. He must take on his father's duty investigating dragons in a neighbouring country. His companions want to join, but Saika refuses. Go back home instead of rushing into danger. Of course, Eva is bound to follow, drawn by love's call. Unexpectedly, the neighbouring prince shows up to greet Saika, but his gaze accidentally crashes into Eva's soul-piercing eyes. No hesitation, he invites her to his royal court. The journey leads to the neighbouring kingdom's dragon's lair. The others want to follow, but Saika forbids it shouldn't rush headlong into danger. Eva, of course, will follow the call of love. Unexpectedly, the neighbouring kingdom's prince arrives to greet Saika, but his attention is caught by Eva's soulful eyes. No beating around the bush, he immediately invites her to his royal court. What a shocking offer. Since it's private, the two families agree to discuss behind closed doors. After talking about the dragon, which has been causing trouble lately, rumoured to have been born from the previous queen's egg, and once lived peacefully with the people they discuss, the rising chaos, the dragon attacks livestock, ruins crops, and even threatens humans. Then the conversation shifts to marriage. When a maid transforms into a princess of a foreign land, no one can ignore that. But Saika has no intention of selling Eva like a slave. If Eva agrees, he will support it. 2 days later, they set off. The prince from the neighbouring kingdom is surprisingly enthusiastic, sending an escort for their journey home. Finally abroad, they're thrilled, especially since dragons are involved. Both are excited, eager for the adventure ahead. After 9 days, they arrive at a peaceful place. The dragon loiters nearby. Why has it been wandering here so often? Suddenly, it swoops down, probably to greet the new visitors. Another summoned tiger appears. What mysteries await in this land? The air is thick with anticipation, a calm before the storm. This dragon, once a symbol of harmony, now hints at deeper troubles lurking beneath the surface. Our heroes stand at the edge of discovery, caught between peace and the coming tempest. What will their hearts choose, courage or caution, love or duty? As the tale unfolds, remember sometimes the fiercest battles are fought within, and if you've ever felt torn like them, take a breath. Let this story be your guide through the shadows. Thanks for sharing this journey with me. The tiger, relentless and reckless, charged at the dragon, even after it was driven away. Luckily, Saika stepped in just in time, ready to turn that beast into tiger barbecue. But then, a summoner appeared, chaining the wild creature. He's a mercenary guild member, but what's he doing here? Is the prince of this land really planning to kill that dragon? Truly, a move that screams foolishness. Saika only advised the prince to reconsider. Meanwhile, Eva believed she was confident enough to protect herself. But as the second strongest in their entire class, she still stood frozen when attacked by beasts whenever Saika wasn't around. How would her teachers react? Though Saika scolded her, he secretly felt sorry. He acted this way to protect her. He didn't want Eva to endure the pain of loss before awakening like he had. In the days that followed, the two delved into ancient texts about dragons. Countless records told of dragons born from the queen's egg, though no concrete proof existed. Over centuries, the dragon married and had offspring. But now, after 500 years, those children had left to live their own lives, and the dragon's mate had passed away. No one knew why it had suddenly rebelled. Saika decided he would climb the mountain to seek answers. That night, as he recorded his notes, a knock came. Eva had received an invitation to the prince's chambers. This hot-headed guy made her uneasy. She didn't dare to be alone, so Saika let her share his bed. It was spacious enough for both, and maybe a little heart-to-heart too. He asked Eva how she felt about the prince's proposal. She didn't think twice. Her heart already belonged to Saika, yet bound by her role as a servant, she kept silent. Saika assured her not to worry. If she wanted to go, he would understand. Poor girl, caught in love with someone clueless about feelings and women. The next day, Saika confronted the prince, laying down his stance firmly. and declaring he would investigate the mountain himself. But the prince began scheming again. Saikar knew this journey would take days, and during that time the prince might try to manipulate Eva. He wasn't ready to let her follow him yet. While Saikar was away, Eva found herself exposed to some unsavory cultural influences. List, the prince's assistant, a fairy, with powers similar to Eva's, claimed. Saikar wasn't human. No spirit dared approach him. Eva sensed this too, but having grown up alongside Saikar, she knew his kindness and talent. It seemed tough for the prince's servants to sway her into the royal harem. Back on the mountain, Saikar reached the summit and was surprised to find the male dragon incubating eggs. At last, the mystery behind the dragon's odd behavior was solved. Despite its rebellion, it was just a shrimp fighting a crab. The dragon was simply protecting its eggs and hunting to feed its unborn young. Some dragons could even change gender when needed, a fascinating glimpse into this mythical world's depths. Saikar stood there witnessing not a monster's rage, but a father's fierce love and vulnerability. It was a reminder that beneath every fierce exterior lies a heart longing to protect and nurture. And as our heroes continue their journey, we're invited to reflect. Sometimes rebellion is just a cry for understanding, and every creature, no matter how mighty, carries the weight of its own story. This dragon doesn't even need a mate to lay eggs. Talk about mystical powers beyond belief. Wait, so this dragon is female. Suddenly, it's acting as a midwife, incubating the egg like it's roasting it to perfection. I've never tasted dragon eggs before, my friends. Now, trying to leave is tough. The dragon already sees you as the father of the unborn hatchling. This situation's getting complicated even for Effa. Effa just took a stroll through the harem, only to find things aren't going as she imagined. Somewhere along the way, that prince finished the formalities to grant her freedom. Now, all she has to do is sign this paper to escape slavery. Surely Saikar would agree to anything Effa wished for, but she refuses to play along. Her heart has long belonged to Saikar, yet this prince is stubborn, threatening to force her signature with violence, aiming to replace her consent with coercion. Just then, Saikar returns. You've bonded with the dragon so deeply it lets you ride on its back. Using the excuse that someone skilled in fire magic is needed to incubate the dragon egg, you save Effa from that predicament. Nothing could be more perfect. She confirms she's fallen for the young master, unable to return the affections of the neighbouring prince. Since childhood, Effa dreamed of soaring the skies on a dragon's back, something she's never imagined would come true. Just as she returns home, she spots the familiar silhouette of a tiger, burnt black from too many battles, perhaps. The mercenaries hired by that prince had planned this all along. They tricked Effa, but their real target was the dragon egg. What they intend to do with it remains unknown, but Saikar won't let them have their way. This time, Effa's more proactive. She refuses to be a burden on Saikar, and instead aims to be a companion who truly contributes. That prize tiger, the mercenaries' pride, only knows one trick: returning to dust. They've learned fear, now running scared at the sight of the dragon. But Saikar lets no one escape. All must be brought back for the prince to handle. Realizing he's been deceived, the prince feels humiliated and begs Saikar to slay the dragon. He believes a grand victory is the only way to claim his father's throne in the future. Such cowardly aspirations. Of course, Saikar refuses to aid such a pitiful soul. No work, no food, only a sentence to prison awaits him. The prince's soldiers capture him, and then comes the usual attempt to manipulate Effa. Saikar can't stand this foolish prince even for a second longer. He flips into lecture mode, unleashing a barrage of harsh truths that finally make the prince see reason. Almost lost in this chaos, the summer break ends, and another break feels like a cruel joke. School life here is surprisingly easy. Saikar even invites Amdu to introduce her to his parents. Not for a proposal, mind you, but because his folks want to meet their son's new friend and show off their star pupil. They even invite Mabeo along for fun. But is it really that simple? Saikar doesn't want to return to that cold, empty house. Yet some things aren't up to him. A few days later, all four arrive at the Lan family mansion. Lanvu, Saikar's brother, is about to inherit the lordship. Greetings and introductions fly around. By the way, Mabeo may be an orphan, but some noble family took her in, turning her into a wealthy young lady. with a proper attitude, much to Saika's chagrin. And there he is, Gray, the older brother, causing trouble, claiming Saika should thank him for swapping places so he could join the army, realizing it suits him better than school. Gray hasn't forgotten the beating he took, and now wants to even the score. He challenges Saika to a duel. Watching two grown brothers still bullying each other is something else. Amdu steps in to fight on Saika's behalf. Fighting the top student is a perfect warm-up before the real battle. The duel begins. Amdu charges forward, gaining the advantage with a wooden sword. The game feels one-sided, almost like victory is hers until she slips. Gray tricks her and knocks the sword away. In real combat, every trick counts. Of course, she can't win, yet the next round is for Saika. Knowing he can't lose, Saika plays along. Meanwhile, someone else watches the duel intently. Amdu encourages Gray, telling him to do his best, win or lose. There's a lesson in every fight. But Gray's already resigned, bored, refusing to continue. That mysterious woman, none other than the Saint Princess Fiona. Not an official title, but a testament to the legacy left by the former Emperor and High Priestess. It turns out the Saint Princess's presence is why Saika agreed to bring Amdu and Marbeo home. His parents aren't exactly eager for this meeting. Fiona holds a crucial political role. Her power is to glimpse the future. Knowing this, she understands her purpose in life and wants to meet Amdu to see if she matches the hero she saw in her prophetic dreams. Demanding much? Perhaps, but a saint must be exceptional. At dinner, Fiona's cryptic remarks leave everyone puzzled. Thankfully, Saika's quick wit and eloquence save the day, truly the brain of a genius unlike ordinary folks. Later that night, while Saika chats with Yuki, Amdu sneaks in. "What's a girl doing in a boy's room at midnight?" Saika teases. Maybe she's just bored, feeling lonely, needing someone to fill the void. Amdu asks what Saika plans to do after graduation. Probably return home and become an adventurer. That's her passion. Saika has no plans to continue studying either. His goal in this world is to use Amdu as a shield, but he promises to keep his word to become an adventurer in the dungeons below and conquer the world alongside her. Hearing that almost knocks you over. Saika even spins some sweet lies with a straight face. "Watch out, folks, this eloquent guy's a trickster. Marbeo, go home already. Your parents don't care about this meeting," they said. But Fiona's importance goes beyond mere politics. Her power to glimpse the future set her destiny ablaze. She sought out Amdu to see if he matched the brave warrior from her prophetic dreams. Quite the demand, but then again, she's the holy princess. Such expectations come with the crown. During that dinner, Fiona's cryptic words left everyone puzzled, unsure how to respond. Thankfully, Saika's sharp wit and eloquence swooped in like a genius's saving grace, his mind dancing on a different plane from ordinary folk. That night, as Saika chatted with Yuki, Amdu barged in. "Why are you in the boys' room at midnight?" she teased, half bored and seeking to fill some emptiness. Amdu asked what Saika planned after graduation. She'd become an adventurer, that's her burning passion. Saika had no plans for further study. His goal was clear use Amdu as his shield in this world. Yet Saika vowed to keep his promise from the dungeon to become an adventurer and conquer the world alongside her. Hearing that, I nearly collapsed with awe. He even spun a few sweet lies without batting an eye. Sisters, beware his silver tongue or risk being charmed. The next morning, the group took the Holy Princess on a tour of the local settlement. A first encounter with poverty left her wide-eyed, but typical of royalty, she even demanded to hold someone's hand. After wandering aimlessly, Fiona insisted on visiting the construction site. What is it with royal girls and danger? No sooner said than a steel rod snapped and dropped, but Amdu's quick reflexes shielded her. Saika stood back, doing nothing, confident they'd react in time. Or maybe he suspected the princess foresaw this moment. Strangely, the princess clung tighter to Saika. As days passed, one chasing after someone, the other trying to escape as far as possible. This guy's got charm for days. Yet he declined her help, wary that her power might jeopardize his secret plans. While hiding, Saika met Amdu fresh from battle. For some reason, she couldn't defeat Bray despite their close age, and Bray's mere year of combat experience. Anime logic, am I right? Amdu insisted she must return to the academy tomorrow. At least she wanted Fiona to enjoy her last day. Seeing the princess play alone at chess tugged at Sayaka's heart, so he sat down to play with her. That look in her eyes, I wasn't sure if I was falling for her or about to get wrecked. Anne, you can't seem to defeat Bray even though they're close in age. Bray's only got a year of fighting experience, while Andu has been slaying monsters since childhood. Talk about anime logic right, Andu insists she has to return to the academy tomorrow. At least she wants to give Fiona one last day of peace. Seeing Fiona forced to play chess all alone, Sayaka feels a pang of sympathy and decides to sit down for a match. No one else dares to challenge Fiona. She's a chess prodigy, or maybe she just sees all the moves before they happen. But surely she wouldn't cheat. Fiona offers to give Sayaka a handicap, just the king and pawns. How could anyone win with that? To spice things up, they wager a bet the loser must grant any wish the winner desires. As they duel over the board, they talk politics as casually as eating water spinach. Sayaka thinks Fiona is the strongest piece and master politician who controls both king and pawns untouchable on the board. His answer impresses her, but Fiona counters, no, piece is stronger than the empty spaces on the board. In reality, those empty spaces represent her many subjects. Weak, unskilled fighters, but united by numbers and spirit, they can overthrow a whole dynasty. They talk so long that Sayaka doesn't even realise when he's lost. Fiona thanks him for the game and promises to come up with something fun to make their next encounter memorable. Back to the revenge squad, they've slaughtered a whole group to fuel their power. Each of the 5 members carries the distinct blood of demons. Together, they form a terrifying force. Watch out! There's a bull among them burning for revenge after Sayaka wiped out his brother back in episode 1. For the demon tribe's future, their mission is clear: eliminate the hero before his true power awakens. This mission must not fail, or else. The next day, everyone parts ways to return to their duties. Gray escorts Fiona back to the palace, and Sayaka's crew tags along thinking it'll be a joyride. But no pressure hits hard. Not long into the journey, an attack strikes. At first glance, it looks like bandits, but no, they're assassins sent to kill Fiona. Some hostile force wants to erase her power of foresight. Did she see this coming? That's why she prepared so many disguised carriages and brought Sayaka's group along. But none of that phases Sayaka. He's more than enough to handle these attackers. No matter what weapons or magic they throw, Sayaka's vines trap them all. Fiona vows to take these captured foes back to the capital for interrogation. The future she glimpsed seems to have shifted slightly. Fewer waves of attackers now, probably because the revenge squad has already wiped out the rest. You guessed it, they're the ones behind this chaos, right? Once they reach the capital, farewells are exchanged. Fiona thanks everyone for the joy and meaning they brought to her days, hoping to meet again, if they survive, that is. And maybe, just maybe, they'll reunite in a more intimate setting, if fate allows. It's a bittersweet parting filled with unspoken promises and lingering hope. In this tangled web of power and destiny, every step forward feels like walking on a knife's edge. But through it all, these bonds remind us that even in a world ruled by shadows, connection is the light that keeps us human. If you've ever felt caught between duty and desire, maybe Fiona's journey whispers to your soul courage isn't the absence of fear but the will to move forward despite it. Thanks for sharing this path with me. This isn't some battlefield where you just get back to school and the principal calls you in. This time, Sayaka is set to represent the new students in a speech just like Amju did last year. Sayaka wanted to live a normal life, but fate keeps throwing hurdles in his path. More than that, Sayaka senses the deadly aura of the revenge squad closing in nearby. Instead of rallying everyone, he chooses to face it all alone. If this secret leaks out, people will fear his power even more, just like in his past life. Meanwhile, 5 men have arrived in the city, standing right before the academy gates. Actually, they're lurking by the walls too scared to face the gate. The captain, a demon god with eyes that pierce through all lies, feels a shiver of fear, but convinces himself it's just nervousness. With those all-seeing eyes, the captain is left speechless, unable to believe what he sees. Before he can warn the others, the red demon's head flies off. Looks like he's still green around the edges. The flying eyes turn to stone, but fail to match the true opponent, a serpent. The white snake also has a third eye, but where exactly? That's still a mystery. Almost instantly, she snaps and dies on the spot. One by one, they charge forward as if begging for death. Despite the captain's attempts to stop them, the rabbit charges ahead. She can summon and tame beasts, but all efforts prove useless. She only feeds the newly tamed serpent. The captain orders the ox to survive and return with the news. The worst demon king was born to protect the hero. The ox can teleport, so it has the best chance to escape. But the others, how can they withstand the blazing sea of flames? Though he escaped outside, Psyche still holds the demon talisman, his killing weapon. This is the true, terrifying power. It seems the battle has ended. A few days later, the new student ceremony begins. Psyche prepares to speak on behalf of all students. You'd think things would go more smoothly than last time, but no. Suddenly, the royal army storms in to arrest Amju. She's accused of killing a demon envoy, an act of treason, demanding imprisonment and trial. These people are smarter than Psyche imagined. For now, they let Amju be taken. Ordinary people might think that if she's innocent, she'll be freed. But nothing is that simple. Because she's a hero, Psyche approached the principal for help, but she's powerless. This is a direct order from the imperial capital. This academy is just a small pawn. She even advises Psyche not to act rashly now, but waiting isn't in Psyche's dictionary. Not wanting to drag Mabeo and Aoife into this mess, he lies saying he'll wait for Amju's release. That night, Psyche summons the dragon god. Seeing his tense expression, the dragon immediately knows who its true master is. After this, Psyche may lose everything he's worked for, but none of that matters now. Burning with fury, he rides the dragon straight to the imperial capital. This place is surprisingly vast. Using his divine senses, he tracks down where Amju is held. It must be the grand prison. Psyche steps forward slowly, noting how lax security is. This place needs a challenge to spice things up. He approaches the gate and confronts the guards. A mere student can't infiltrate here, so they blow the alarm immediately. Suddenly, arrows emerge from hidden spots, but all miss. Haven't they played with him before? Yet, rockets. That's a whole new level of annoyance. Psyche counters with blue flames, the undying soul fire. The warriors start faltering, but Psyche's fury spares no one. If demons come out to fight, how could anyone stand a chance? Psyche's ruthless image now resembles that of a demon king. No one calls him otherwise. The battle rages on as he single-handedly takes on the entire fortress. Enemies fall with a flick of his hand. Eventually, he finds Amju. She scolds him, "Why act recklessly? The consequences will be dire." But to Psyche, none of that matters compared to the life of the hero. Everyone knows Amju is unaware she's been chosen as a hero. Psyche sees her as his past self, possessing unparalleled strength that breeds fear and rejection. Waiting for Amju to return is pointless. Now is the time to escape. But then, Gray and Fiona appear unexpectedly. The reunion comes sooner than expected. Psyche plans to take both down, but Fiona wants to talk. She says Psyche has misunderstood everything. In this era, heroes and demon kings are outdated roles. Once heroes were champions who wiped out demons, but now humans and demons coexist peacefully. The existence of heroes only fans the flames of war, so both sides want them gone. Fiona tries to find a way for Amju to return to the academy without dying, but Psyche can't trust her words. How could he when he can see the future? He decides to take Amju away tonight. The negotiation fails. Fiona orders her troops to retreat and lets Psyche take Amju away. So much for that promise of a rematch. Psyche was too selfish to trust his friends. When he realizes Gray and Fiona cared for Amju while she was captive, Psyche feels a twinge of regret and wants to make amends. No longer hiding his power, Psyche uses resurrection magic to restore the fallen soldiers and revive their spirits. Even knowing Psyche's strength, both Gray and Fiona can't believe their eyes. What kind of nonsense is this happening right before me? It's quick. It's exhausting. They were heading back to the academy, but Psyche refused to trust the princess's words. How could he, with the power to see the future, can you ever truly believe? That night, Psyche decided to take Amju away. The negotiations had fallen apart. Fiona ordered the troops to retreat and let Psyche lead Amju away. So much for that old promise lost over a game of chess. Psyche was selfish, refusing to trust his friends. But when he learned that both Gray and Fiona cared for Amju while she was imprisoned, guilt crept in. Determined to make amends, Psyker unleashed his true strength. Using resurrection magic, he restored the fallen soldiers' lives and their shattered surroundings. Even witnessing Psyker's overwhelming power, neither could believe their eyes what nonsense was this unfolding before them. My head aches just recalling it. Fiona had long known Psyker was the demon lord of their era. Since childhood, she'd used her gift to track him. But this demon lord was different, kind-hearted, always protecting the hero no matter what. Psyker and Andu returned to the academy with a new promise after graduation. They'd become adventurers together, walking side by side until their last breath. And so ends this ridiculous anime saga. Let's hope the author spares us